All right, today, we're doing Cardinal Fast Five, and we're celebrating some of our Black alums for Black History Month. And I'm so fired up today to have Clay Goldston with us. Clay, how you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to do it. I'm going to ask you a lot of some of these same questions I've asked the other guys. I know a lot of these answers. One, because I played with you for a little bit, and then two, we coached together for a little bit before I
Yep.
started bouncing around the country and before you started coaching with Coach Clark and winning all those games. So, which that's where we're heading. We're getting back there. But why don't we go ahead and start with, so how did you choose Catholic? How did you wind up a Catholic?
It's kind of a, I guess, funny story. The stars all kind of fell in line. My dad was a DC police officer. From 1984, 1985, he was looking to retire. And someone, I think, asked him that, Catholic University was looking for a director of security. Do you have anybody in mind? So he was like, yeah, me. So he ended up applying, getting a job and
Yeah.
started there about 84 and 85. So that kind of put Catholic University on the map for me, and particularly for my parents, which is one of the reasons, thankful to them, why he took it, because him working there, it was tuition free for my brother now. So that was a great advantage.
Right.
Great advantage. And then I think a year or two, so I graduated high school in 86. About, again, 84 and 85, my high school coach, Ro Waldron, his son, Dooney,
Mm-hmm.
got the head coaching job at Catholic. So, of course, he bought Dooney, all of his assistants, Tom Clark, and all those guys from St. John's, where I went to high school, over to Catholic. So it kind of came like a natural marriage. They had known me, I had known them. I'm literally, I live like 5 minutes from university. So they started recruiting me. So it kind of fell into place there. And then I was like, I still wasn't, I was unsure of where I wanted to go. And then I took a recruiting visit there, and obviously stayed with a few guys who went to St. John's with me. Had a great time on my recruiting visit. And since then I was like, hey, why not Catholic? You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, you thinking about all the guys I played with there at Catholic. There's so many good football players, but I remember that when I watched you play, I was like, okay, there's a guy that might not, we got a little bit of a steal by getting him on the roster. Like, maybe he should have been somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because he's too good. But so that takes me to, what position did you play at Catholic, and what football years was that?
1986, my freshman year. So 86 to the 89 season. Defensive back. I started 3 years. So mostly defensive back, punt return, special teams, a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. So the year that I overlapped with you was 89, and that was our 8-2 year.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that was a fun year.
Yes.
I remember driving back from Gannon after that rain game. When it was like 33 degrees and rainy, and
we still
freezing.
I still think about that. Was that 7-6 or something like that?
7-6.
Oh my gosh, that was horrible.
It was
well, I mean, it was horrible because it's your last game of your college career. It's, a miserable weather, and then a team which I thought we should have won a little bit. I thought we were a little better than them, so I think we should have won more than 7-6. But it was just kind of a sloppy game, sloppy conditions, and it was one of them things.
And we did just enough.
Yeah.
The only thing that would have made it worse is if we'd been on the business end of that score, that would have made it really terrible.
Yeah. I know.
So,
it's like so you're sorry it's your last game, but you just want to get it over with and get out of town.
Yeah, I remember being on the sideline, and I didn't start, because there was so many good guys in front of me, like playing guard, like Big Al and Jazz, and those guys were there.
Yeah.
So I would go in for PAT. And so I'd be on the sideline freezing. When we scored, I had to go in for extra point. And I was like, oh man, and you getting my hand stepped on, and like, it was so cold. And I couldn't move because I'd been standing for like 30 minutes, but it was still awesome. It was a fun trip. I still remember that trip.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you major in at Catholic? What did you study?
I was a history major. Actually, I went in undecided. I was one of those kids who went to college, I had a a little bit of an interest in a lot of things, but not one main thing. So I don't think I decided till like very last minute. Maybe
Right.
second semester sophomore year, that I was going to be a history major. It's something I always kind of liked a little bit. But once I got there, and then I talked to a couple of other people who were also history majors, and they were like, "Yeah, it's if you're kind of an undecided thing, it's kind of a good thing to do because you do a lot of reading, a lot of writing, papers and stuff like that. So it can set you up for some other things like that." So once I started taking some classes and decided to do it, I was like, okay, I kind of liked it.
Lots of critical thinking and
Yeah,
trying to reason it out through all the papers you have to write
yeah,
and all that
yeah.
stuff.
And
That's
to me,
you know
history was always kind of like I always like how things work, stuff like that. So to me, history was kind of like that. It's how the present is built on the past and how the stuff kind of happens like that. So it was to me, like you said, you look at it critically, stuff like that. It became a lot of
Mhm.
not just memorizing dates and places and stuff like that.
Right. No, that's not it. No. I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta know when stuff happened, but I mean, at Catholic, one
right.
of the great things I love about the place is these professors are going to challenge you. They're going to be like, okay, why was that important?
Right,
Not just like it
right.
happened, but why was it important?
Yeah. Why did it
And that's when you
happen
got to be like,
yeah, and what did it lead to? Yeah.
right, yeah, no, that's awesome. Okay, so tell everybody what you do now and what you're working on.
Right now I'm a police officer with it's a mouthful, the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. So basically the park police. I've worked in Montgomery County for about 28 years. Took a promotion last year. Now I'm with the Prince George's County side. So still there. Still coaching a little bit of football. I coached at Catholic from I'm trying to remember now, 94 maybe. Because my first year
Hmm.
coaching at Catholic was yeah, probably Rick Novak's, I think, last year there. So that might have been 93, 94.
That was
Uh,
'93. Yep,
93. Okay. So I started there in
yep.
93. Tom Clark, who's, coached at Catholic for a while, he left. He came back, kept me on the staff. So I started coaching there. I think he was there for about 6 years. So I
Hmm.
was him the whole time there. And then luckily, fortunately, got an opportunity to move to where I'm now. I've been coaching out at the Good Counsel High School for, I guess, 20 years, 21 years. Man,
Wow,
time
I can't
flies.
believe that.
This it's crazy, man. When I think about it, it's time has
Yeah.
flown past.
Was Coach Malloy the head coach when you started there, or did he just come in
Yes.
while you were okay?
No, he was. And again, the stars all aligned. I coached with a linebackers coach at Catholic with Steve Gant,
Yep.
who was a teacher at Good Counsel. When Malloy got the head coaching job at Good Counsel, he since Steve Gant was there coaching there, he brought him on to coach linebackers, and Malloy was like, "I need a D-back coach." So of course, you know how the coaching thing works. You know who you know,
Oh yeah.
who can you recommend? I need a coach for this position. Do you have anybody in mind? And from working with Steve a couple years, he said, "Yeah, I got a guy in mind." So I came out, met him, and never met him before. Before that, we had a meeting up at a little chicken spot up in Olney. He brought me lunch and we kind of sat around, talked about some football and stuff. And he was like, "Okay, if you want it, it's yours." And it actually worked
Awesome.
out being great that living here in Wheaton, I was literally walking distance from the school back when the school was in that off of Georgia
Right.
Avenue. So everything again it just kind of worked out perfectly for me to be that close to work, that close to home, and with my schedule. And my wife, we're just starting a family. And then so I was worried about how's it going to work with coaching, with work, in school. But luckily, my wife was very supportive, and we were able to get it done. And I've just been there ever since.
And Coach Stefanelli hasn't slowed down at all either. Like I know,
No,
just watching you guys the last couple of years has been fun. I gotta get it. We have a couple guys on the roster right now from Good Counsel, but I gotta keep the pipeline open.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great that Catholic school connection, man. That's awesome.
Yep. Okay, so what is your favorite memory from back at Catholic U that you don't mind sharing publicly out here on video?
It's hard. Well, first of all, being so It being so long ago, it's hard to remember
Yeah.
a lot of stuff from back then.
No kidding.
You know,
I know.
it's funny. Sometimes you don't really have a memory until someone else. You're talking to somebody else, and they bring up something, and then all of a sudden the floodgates starting to open, and you remember all this stuff. I don't necessarily have one particular memory. I think for me, the biggest takeaway I had from Catholic was just the camaraderie of the football team. And that was one thing that really got me. As much as I like being by myself type of stuff, I really like that team atmosphere, that group of guys working together to accomplish a goal, sharing those shared experiences. I mean, I remember distinctly the summer before I got to Catholic. Again, I was fortunate because I lived in the city. I was able to go down during the summer and start working out with some of the guys before I was even enrolled in school. So I was able to meet a bunch of guys. They knew me. So once school started and once practice started in August, you automatically had this group of guys who you could trust. Automatically had this group of guys that you've already built a relationship with. And it was great.
Yeah.
Just some of the worst memories are the best. We talked about that Gannon game. Some of the times, I remember me and Al, we had practice in the morning. My freshman year we had practices. My freshman year we had practice at 6:00 in the morning, and then once Freddie O got the job, we had practices at 7, which to me was like
sleeping in.
Oh my gosh! But I just remember those times. Once it started getting colder, and me and Al would have to make that walk down to the DeForest Center every morning. I swear, every time I used every day walking to practice, I used to quit. I said, I'm not playing anymore. I'm done. You walk past the dorms and everybody else is sleeping, and you're going to practice and whatever. But once you got there, once you got in the locker room, you got around a bunch of the guys.
It was okay.
You started getting the chat. He's like, you know what? Hey, you start feeling sorry for everybody else who's sleeping now, because I'm here. I'm with you guys.
Yes.
I'm having fun, and it was just a great experience. That a lot of things just was just great for me.
Yeah. By the time you were sitting down taking your cleats off, after practice, you were like, man, I've already had a good day. Nobody, and you're right, nobody else is up.
Yeah, it was done. And I remember, you get done at 8:30, you go right to class and be done. And then it's funny, every day, Al and we used to take a nap from like 3 to 6.
Yep.
I used to turn my phone off, turn the shades, pull the shades down. I'm like, don't call me, don't come. I'm taking my afternoon nap. And it was, and then we wake up, go to the dining hall, do some homework, and then go to bed because we got to get right back up in the morning. So yeah, as much as I hated stuff like that while you're in the middle of it, when you look back on it, you realize how much it shaped you, and how much, just how many lifelong friends and partners and stuff
It built a brotherhood, by doing those hard things together. Like it made those connections that don't happen otherwise.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've always taken off about sports, and it's a lot of things too. But I always, being an athlete, I always looked at sports to do that. Like you said, a group of guys coming together to accomplish a goal over, doing practice, doing weightlifting sessions, stuff like that. You really didn't want to do, but when you look back on it, you say, yeah, I was part of that. And although we never won any championships or anything like that, you still come away with those great memories that, you'll never forget.
I was going back and looking at those years. So we lost to Dayton in '89 was one of the losses, and they won the national championship that year. And then the next year, one of the losses, so you were done, but the next year we weren't too bad again. And one of the losses was to Hofstra, and they won the national championship, or they played in the national championship. And I was like, okay, we're playing the right people. We're like, we were this close. And then, of course, it didn't go the way we wanted. And then that's when Coach Clark came back in and got it rolling. But I'll tell you what, one thing I remember about those morning practices was that doggone bread bakery across the street. You smell that bread every morning. And all I wanted to do was just get some butter and go over and have like fresh bread and butter and not go to practice. That was it. That's the O lineman in me. Like, I just want the bread and butter.
Everything rolls around food. Yep.
Everything. Yeah. Well, listen, this was awesome, man. I can't thank you enough. It's so great to catch up with you. And
Always a pleasure, man.
yeah, and we got to come see you soon. So we'll be playing some games. You guys will be playing some games this spring, but hopefully we'll be able to catch some.
Yeah, what are you guys doing for the spring?
Right now, we've got one at the end of March and two in April right now. And so we're going to get started early March with practices is the plan. You know, you got to keep your fingers crossed. We're doing all the testing and everything like that. So many pieces got to fall into place, but right now it's looking good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Good deal.
Yeah, hopefully I can.
All right, well, I'll talk to you soon, Clay.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, man. This is great to see you.
Yeah, great to catch up, man.
Fly high birds, right?
Soar.
Yeah.